NFTs, what is all this fuss about? I know it is fun to hear someone selling their gift for $600,000, making millions of dollars on selling different kind of like artwork, or even looking at the YouTube and one of the Paul brothers making more than $5 million on, again, just selling pure images. We're just scratching the surface with what NFTs can truly achieve, and especially prepare you for when Peter McKinnon drops his NFT. Welcome back to the TohirT channel. My name is Tahir, and today we're talking Peter McKinnon, we're talking YouTubers, we're talking art, NFTs, and I will even tie in OnlyFans into this conversation. Yeah, we're going places. Let's do this. I would love to straight in dive into my idea about Peter McKinnon's NFT, but we do have to level set with some of the people who are hearing the definition of NFT for the first time. So if you're familiar with how NFT works or the high-level blockchain principles, just use the chapter section below and jump straight to the discussion of Peter McKinnon's NFT. For others, let's spend 1 minute talking about the terminology. First and foremost, you need to understand blockchain. Blockchain is a buzzword that have been used for the past couple of years to cut it down and avoid some of the technical complications. Let's focus primarily on what it is. Imagine the situation. You own a phone. Now, if someone would stop you in the middle of the street and ask, Tahir, prove to me that you actually own this phone and you didn't steal it, what would you use to prove it? Well, you would pull up your receipt and you would say, here's my receipt from Apple. I purchased from them directly. Now, what if you lost that receipt? What happens now? How do you prove in that situation that you actually own the asset? Well, blockchain solves that because blockchain creates a unique record of your ownership of a particular asset across multiple different ledgers, what they call them, scattered all over the globe. Essentially, the moment you acquire a digital asset, and the most popular use case is cryptocurrencies, there are multiple ledgers all over the world that record your ownership of that asset. And if you sell it to someone, your name is scratched off and the new person's name is added to the list. And that continues as the transaction continues. And essentially, blockchain allows you to trace back the ownership of a particular item to its origin. This is as complex as it gets. And now if you think about NFTs, NFTs are based on a blockchain technology where a digital asset like an image, a music song, or even a tweet can have unique NFT identifier, non-fungible token, which guarantees you a certificate of ownership of that original item. Then the blockchain just spreads the word and lets the entire world know in all those ledgers that you own this image. Yes, this is as complex as it gets on the surface. But now you would ask a few questions. Tahir, it's a digital asset, it's a photo. If someone takes a copy of that photo and saves it, do I still own that image? Well, no, you only own the original, and even from the original perspective, you do not own the copyrights, you cannot actually use it in a commercial sense, you own the authenticated version of the file. People can still create duplicates of that file, use them in other use cases, but you get to keep the bragging rights of owning that original copy. Now the second question right away comes in, Tahir, then why would someone pay $500,000 for an item that just has a unique token that says I own it? And well, this is where we have to talk a little bit about the perceived value. Look at this signed version of the latest album by The Weeknd. How much would you pay me to own this cover of the album? Well, if you do not know who The Weeknd is or you do not really care, you probably wouldn't even pay me for the paper that this album cover was printed on. Well, if you're a die-hard fan who've been following The Weeknd for like 10 years, first and foremost, XO till we overdose. Second, you would pay me $50, maybe even $100 because your perceived value of this is associated with the brand that the artist carries. NFTs are essentially the autographed version of the same files. The fact that I own this cover does not mean this is the only one. There are hundreds of them. There are hundreds and thousands of items signed by Abel across the world. Yet they all carry a little bit of that value of his brand with them because they were autographed. Think about things like sneakers, think about collectible toys and all of these small things that you can get in limited editions. Well, all of them carry the value because there's a group of people out there who all agreed, or at least share the common delusion that this item carries certain type of value with it, whether it has a signature on it or otherwise. This is what the NFTs are, and this is what the craze that you see online for the past month or so. There are a bunch of people out there who see NFTs associated with a particular digital asset, and they value the ownership of these bragging rights above certain price value, and in some cases to the ridiculous amounts of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Unfortunately, it does not get any more complex than that. People simply pay for what they perceive to be valuable, and those values creators can differ widely from one person to the other. But this is where it is time to come back to my friend Peter McKinnon and talk about him, because creators like him, and clearly I'm a fan based on all the merchandise I own by him, is that he can trailblaze in the NFT space and take it to a whole nother level that we should definitely focus on for the rest of the video. I use Peter McKinnon not only because he's a great clickbait, but also because I burned twice already through the other two creators who would be very clickbaity, like David Dobrik or MrBeast. And quite frankly, Peter McKinnon is one of those trailblazers who continues to push the envelope of what he offers to his fans, to his subscription base of 5 million plus people at this point in time. And when I think about his NFT, I think it's gonna take it to another level, because he will try to do something completely different from all the other creators out there. Case in point, I already spoke about his merchandising line in this video before, but for the upcoming NFT, what I perceive he will do, or if he won't, please feel free to share this video with him and let's see if we're gonna inspire him. But I'm pretty confident he will use ton of his amazing photos that we all grew to admire via his Instagram or the YouTube channel, and he'll offer them at a certain price as an NFT per each unique photo. And of course, a photograph like a bucket shot will probably gain like thousands of dollars in sales at least. But for all the other photos and all the other NFTs that will be out there, Peter McKinnon will essentially create this PM fan club that will have additional perks and benefits on top of just owning the bragging rights. His TohirT Live brand is where you can quickly see the lever to pull when it comes to NFTs. Clearly, I'm a fan. You can see at this point I've probably amassed a pretty big collection of all the different items from him. And one of the challenges of buying those is that they come in the surprise drops announced via his Instagram stories. And if you do not snatch at least one of those items within the first minute to 2 minutes, most of them will be gone. So you really have to pick and choose and strategize to jump in, grab one item, and pray that there might be another item available that you can quickly snatch before the entire shop closes down. Now, imagine the situation where the owners of NFTs will be offered a special perk by Peter, where we will get extra 10 minutes ahead of everyone when it comes to starting our shopping on Pete's Pirates Live brand. If he would offer something like this for $10, I would probably pay up to $50 for the rights to enter the store 10 minutes ahead, take my time, pick a couple of items and check out in one go and pay for only one shipping. Now in comes the next announcement by Peter McKinnon, and now he says, by the way guys, I will now host a Saturday morning coffee hour with Pete on Zoom. Now, you can go and talk to him about different ideas, different thoughts that you have about the creativity, or just hang around and talk about his latest video. How much would you value that personal time with your favorite creator? I would probably pay like close to $100 to have that right in perpetuity. And you can see how this can quickly evolve from that basic level where NFTs are today, where people just essentially sell their autographs on a digital asset, to something of an experience, a personal touch with a group of very devoted fans. One of the less mentioned perks for the creators from issuing NFTs is not only the fact that you can get some extra revenue, but you can also attach a royalty like 5% or 10% from every future transaction that will come back to you as an author. So all of a sudden, for someone like Peter McKinnon, he'll start thinking about his NFT release as almost like IPO, going public, when the company sells portion of themselves on a public market and allows others to trade between each other. Imagine the situation where after the initial release, Peter McKinnon now at 10 million subscribers, there are twice as many people wanting to get into that exclusive club, and he no longer issues additional NFTs. So all of a sudden you almost see the doubling of value, and those NFTs that you bought for 50 or $100 now worth $200, maybe $300 on the reseller market. It truly becomes a stock exchange. And now creators can take it to the whole nother level. Matty Hapoya is another great creator, good friend of Peter McKinnon, someone I spoke about in this video. I know it's about Tiffany Haddish, but there is a connection. Trust me, if there's one thing you learn from this channel and me personally, I know how to connect different dots. And Matty Hapoya and Peter are talking a lot about investing in other creators. What if they create a company where they will use NFTs as a way to invest in future creators, and you would make money by selling their NFTs 2 years from now when those guys reach million+ subscribers? All of a sudden you see different possibilities that creators can take advantage of and fund their own success. And this is where we need to also think a little bit about the platforms. And it was not a clickbait. This is where we will talk about the OnlyFans. I think OnlyFans example is very relevant here because of the dependency on the platform that NFTs can also solve for the creators and their fans. And no, I will not give you my regular TohirT's pitch about, oh, what is this brand about? Go Google it if you do not know what OnlyFans business is. Just make sure no one's looking over your shoulder, and do not do it at work. It's definitely not safe for work. The fun fact about OnlyFans is that really predominant amount of those creators who are today on the platform have been on Patreon before. And you know I love Patreon. I've made a video about Patreon and my love for that platform years ago. And surprisingly, a lot of the adult content creators would have their own pages on Patreon and would be able to support themselves by offering the subscription to their fans. And they would sell nudes, and judgment aside, those people would put food on the table for themselves and for their families using that service. And Patreon was good about it until they were not. One day, Patreon decides to change the policy, and all of those creators lose access to their fans, lose access to gaining that revenue. And that's where they had to go and find the harbor in the storm. OnlyFans came about, and OnlyFans started slowly increasing its popularity because all of those adult content creators moved over to OnlyFans and created their pages and start bringing their audience from all those other social medias onto OnlyFans. This is the core of a problem that NFTs can help resolve. Judgment aside, forget about the fact that they're producing adult content. Think about Peter McKinnon, myself, as YouTubers. Think about TikTokers, the Amelios. Think about any other creator on any other social platform. We're fully dependent on the mercy of those platforms. Patreon decided to change their policy. Off go all of those adult content creators. YouTube recently decided to change their policy about kids content, and all the creators of those toy reviews channels essentially saw complete tanking of their revenues. Even OnlyFans is not safe. If Bella Thorne's scam is an example of how the policy can change because of one bad actor. So for all of the creators, no matter what kind of content you produce, NFTs empower you to create that personal one-to-one connection with your fans, because by selling them NFT 1, you create that link, and now because it's a unique ID, those people can use it to follow you from one platform to another. With NFTs, creator can cut the tether that holds them to a single individual platform. They will not be able to take all of the fans off of that, but those who purchase NFTs indicated that they're interested enough in you as a personality, in you as a creator, to put their money where their mouth is and invest in your growth. So by linking with those people and carrying them from platform to platform, you're essentially no longer dependent on YouTube, thinking that your content is kosher and okay to use in any other platform. So now those platforms will have to step their game up when it comes to offering us other services, because they know the barriers for us to exit the platform are that much lower. This is beautiful. This is where creators and the fans using NFT create that bridge, the link between each other that will survive any kind of policy change on any platform. To tie this all together, think about NFTs, cryptocurrencies, essentially technologies that are based on the blockchain, as those tools in the early infancy. Think about the internet like 25, 30 years ago at its infancy, when a bunch of nerds were just excited about the fact that they'll be able to create digital libraries all around the world and access them at any point in time. It's going to be knowledge of information that anyone can access. No one even thought or fathomed the fact that you could see billion upon billion dollar businesses created on the internet platforms, work being done over the internet. I do my 9 to 5 purely in the browser, or like 95% of my work is really in the browser, in the Chrome window, where I hop between different websites and do my job. This is fascinating to see how much have changed with the implementation of the internet. So the blockchain, NFTs, Bitcoins, cryptocurrencies, all of them are in the infancy of their own, where we're just scratching the surface of what is possible. And to me, when I start thinking about even any post-pandemic kind of events, imagine The Weeknd, coming back to him, selling his NFTs and allowing people to access early pre-sales of his tickets using NFTs, selling his merch early, letting people listen to his album early, creating some special fan engagement events to only people who own the NFTs. That becomes its own stock, its own valuable asset that we now hold, that helps us stay attached to our favorite creators and artists and producers. We're just infants playing with toys and trying to figure out how they work. It is not clicking yet. And this is where I think about Peter McKinnon, I think about MKBHD, I think about Mr. Beast, trailblazing creators who are figuring out how can they provide additional value to their fans. NFTs in their hands will become a very interesting source of both new technologies, new businesses, and potentially a lot more billionaires out there around the world. Where the icing on that cake are the tighter communities, more engaged audiences, and I'm all here for it. And I'm still all for billion-dollar ownership of NFTs by multiple different creators. That's a stock game that I'm all about. Do NFTs actually make more sense at this point? Do you think you would buy an NFT from your favorite creator? And what other questions do you have? What can I help you clarify? Let me know and share your thoughts in the section below. Special kudos to Colin and Samir. Their show is great. I highly recommend it. And I'll link their video about NFTs down below. Them talking to a couple of people about what NFTs could hold in the future inspired me to create this video. So highly recommend them, as well as they actually took it in a completely different direction. So it's worth seeing a different perspective on what the NFTs would look like in the future. And well, if you're Peter McKinnon's fan, let me know what you think about his potential NFT, and let's get him to finally release it. Share this video with him if you found it useful, you think this is what he should do. If you ask me which photo I would buy on that NFT, it will be this one. This photo and his documentary The Mountains Won't Remember Me was the inspiration behind me purchasing the latest telephoto lens. Yeah, that's how dedicated I am. And I'm very excited about seeing a lot more of these parallels and interconnective tissues between my business side. After all, I've been in like business management operations in the IT world for like 12 plus years, and the creative side, this channel that I've been on for almost 4 years. And yes, if you're curious to learn more about this kind of stuff or just other random topics, I'm here every Saturday, 10 AM Eastern. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed. Here are a couple of my videos for you to watch, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.